Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Town Hall with the Honourable Tim Houston, Premier of the Province of Nova Scotia. My name is Marla McGuinness, and I will be your moderator this evening. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing here tonight. This evening, several Nova Scotians across the province received invitations to join this Town Hall over the phone. Those who have chosen to participate will have the opportunity to ask questions directly to Premier Houston. If you are participating by phone and you would like to ask a question, please hit *3 and you will be added to the queue. We are also broadcasting this town hall live on the NS Government Facebook and YouTube channels. And there's an opportunity for you to participate as well. You can email your questions to nstownhall@novascotia.ca. We'll be live for about an hour and we'll do our best to get to as many questions as we can. For those on the phone, this is now your opportunity to hit *3 to ask your questions. While we're waiting for those questions to come in, Premier, I'll ask you a question of my own. Today was a big day. It was budget day, and this was the second budget of your term. We know all too well the second budget really sets the stage for what's to come. It's also been a big week. So Premier, why don't you start us off by telling us about it?
Well, thank you, Marla. It's definitely been a big day and a big week for sure, but good evening, folks. I'm so happy to be here speaking directly with Nova Scotians tonight. In just a few minutes, we're going to take calls from you, live on the air. And if you'd like to ask a question, if you want a chance to ask a question, just press *3, and we'll do our best to get to you during the course of this evening. But I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to hearing from you tonight, hearing your thoughts, and answering your questions. But if you'll indulge me for a couple minutes before we get to the main portion of tonight's event, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the most pressing issue on most of our minds: healthcare. I thought it might make sense to stand back and talk about a few parts of the healthcare system. First, we all hear the stories about the shortages of healthcare workers here, across the entire country really, and really around the world. The reality is we need more healthcare workers in just about every field, every aspect of healthcare, and we're competing with every jurisdiction for them. I tend to think we have a few things nowhere else can offer, like our incredible East Coast lifestyle. But beyond our 13,000 kilometers of coastline, we have put solutions forward to attract and retain our healthcare workers and make sure that the healthcare system of tomorrow is a better system for patients and for our healthcare professionals. And that's why this evening I want to speak directly to healthcare workers and prospective healthcare workers here in Nova Scotia. We're doing all of this to improve access for Nova Scotians. We're doing this because we want to improve the lives of our healthcare workers in our system, in our province. We're doing this because we want you to even become a healthcare worker here in Nova Scotia. We're doing this because we want you to come to Nova Scotia and work in our healthcare system. These changes we're making, they're for patients and they're for healthcare workers, and they're for you. You will be welcome here for sure. We know working conditions need to improve. We also know that money isn't everything, but it is something. It's one way to say thank you. While we're working on fixes to improve the overall work environment, it's a way to say thank you. That's why earlier this week, our government announced the single biggest bonus for nurses and healthcare workers in the province's history. I was honored to announce bonuses for nurses of up to $20,000. $10,000 is a retention bonus, and if you commit to 2 years return of service, it's another $10,000 in your pocket. For retired and travel nurses, it's an incentive of $10,000 to come back to work or to come work for us as part of our system. I was also honored to announce bonuses for many other types of allied healthcare professionals, including those so often forgotten, who aren't always top of mind, but that the system wouldn't function without them. So we know we need to support you in your day-to-day work, and those bonuses are a way of doing that. This is about appreciating those who are working here in Nova Scotia. A focus on retention. We want you to stay and we want you to be happy in your workplace. We know that building our workforce is about retention and it's about attraction. So now, for those of you who may be considering a career in healthcare, or if you're a healthcare worker outside the province who is thinking about Nova Scotia, we want you here. We respect our healthcare workers and will do whatever it takes to offer a healthcare system that provides Nova Scotians the access they need when they need it, and offer a healthcare system that healthcare workers are proud to work in. So in today's budget, we announced something else we're doing to attract more nurses, to show them that we want them here. As of today's budget, any nurse under the age of 30 will no longer pay personal provincial income tax on their first $50,000 of their income. No taxes for nurses under 30 on their first $50,000 of income. That's more for nurses. But we are also chasing other ways of attracting other allied healthcare professionals across the spectrum. Many of you may know someone who was trained abroad for medicine. Chances are those folks have found it nearly impossible to get back home. This is ridiculous. I don't accept that. We're working with our colleges to figure this out and find a better way. Right now, we've removed the burden for doctors that are in the U.S. We're the first province in Canada to do this. Good enough for Harvard? Good enough for Nova Scotia. We're also working with the College of Nurses to determine countries that have a similar standard of training to Nova Scotia, because we never want to sacrifice our standards. So we can come up with a list of countries where if you've worked there and you're in good standing, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to come here. This work is ongoing, but I'm proud of the work that the Nurses College is doing on that. I wish fixing healthcare was as easy as a snap of someone's fingers. Believe me, we tried that too. We'll try a lot of things, but this is a collaborative effort, and the will is there to fix it, and the will is there from our healthcare professionals. So if you're a doctor or other healthcare professional who has trained elsewhere and is working outside of Canada, we want you to have a common sense path to practice here in Nova Scotia. That's on the human resource side of things. There's lots happening. But we also have to find more and more creative ways for patients to access the system. Solutions for the short, the medium, and the long term. So that's why we have more virtual appointments available every single day. We've expanded the scope of work that pharmacists can do so that you can get the basic treatments right there in the pharmacy in your community with your pharmacist who you know and trust. We've added more mobile clinics. We know there have been issues in the past with ambulances not being there as fast as we would like. Sometimes that was because ambulances weren't available for emergency calls because they were tied up doing a less urgent transfer. This isn't the best use of the talents of our paramedics and their skills. So now we've added transport drivers for these types of calls. So paramedics can be focused on emergencies and be there when you call. We've also changed some of the offload procedures at hospitals. Our paramedics are too talented to be spending their time waiting in the hallways. We're working to address the EHS challenges for sure. We have all heard of the tragedies surrounding our emergency departments. One change we've made is to put patient advocates in most emergency department waiting rooms across the province. It's just someone to keep a closer eye on patients and be there closer to them and for them. We're also making other long-term changes. One of our biggest needs is more access to care in rural settings. CBU recognized that, and last year came to us with a proposal to educate more Nova Scotians, specifically more rural Nova Scotians, to be doctors. They made good on their commitment. They did the work and put together a proposal we believed in. So we did our part, and we stepped up with the funding to support them. And now we're building a new medical school at CBU. And what's unique about this medical school is that it will train medical students who want to stay in Nova Scotia, rural Nova Scotians that are attached to their communities. Those students will have a return of service upon acceptance at CBU Med School. Practically, this means that by 2029, we will be graduating 30 more doctors every year, with every single one of them staying in Nova Scotia. So this is a good thing for our province. We want DAL to have a similar focus on keeping their doctors that are trained in Nova Scotia here in Nova Scotia. We've sent a lot of Nova Scotia trained doctors away over the years. That's a problem. We want to work with DAL to fix that, and we are. Nobody has tackled these issues before in the past. No government has tackled some of these issues because they're hard. But we're grabbing them and we're dealing with them. And finally, this week, I just want to share, this week we held our second healthcare summit with leaders from all fields across the healthcare file. It was an effort to get as many people who have the ability to make decisions in the same room as possible so we can all get on the same page and row together. Our first summit was back in January on the 17th, and some of you may remember me telling those folks to go like hell. Well, many listened. We see universities like CBU and St. FX stepping up. The Nurses College and the College of Physicians and Surgeons, they're stepping up. Pharmacists are stepping up. So many allied healthcare professionals are stepping up, wanting to be part of the solution. So these are all good things. And then today, of course, as Marla mentioned, we tabled our budget. $6.5 billion investment in healthcare. This is the biggest investment in healthcare in the province's history. And let me tell you, there are some pretty incredible changes coming as a result of this budget, not the least of which is providing high-dose flu shot to seniors for free. So there's a lot happening on the healthcare file, and I just want to share some of that. But enough from me. I want to hear from you. If you want to ask a question, please press *3 now, and we'll do our best to get to you. Thanks very much.
And Premier, I'm excited to say there are a lot of people in the queue right now. So we're going to start off. We're going to go to Alice McNamara from Halifax. Alice has a question about healthcare. If you have a question, don't forget that you can hit *3 to be added to our queue. But for now, we'll go to Alice. Go ahead, Alice.
Hi, I was just wondering what you're doing about the health care and why does it take so long for me to see my family doctor?
Hi, Alice. Thank you for the question. I mean, the challenges in the healthcare file are very real, and they're very personal. Just as you say, trying to get into your own doctor. So we know there's a lot of pressure on the system with people waiting to have their own, primary care practice, whether it's nurse practitioner or family doctor. And we also know that even those Nova Scotians that have a doctor, as you quite rightly say, can have difficulty getting in to see them. So we're trying to support our family doctors. We're trying to make sure we open up other avenues to access to care. I mentioned the pharmacy-led clinics, the mobile clinics, the virtual care. These are all designed to take pressure off the system so that people can get into a doctor. Well, we recruit more doctors. We're working hard to recruit more doctors, and ultimately, in the longer term, as I mentioned, we'll train more doctors here in Nova Scotia that stay here in Nova Scotia. So, listen, I feel I take it very personal, the challenges in healthcare. We're committed to getting past the challenges and really get healthcare fixed in this province. I've said I'll spend whatever it takes. I think people are seeing that with the evidence in the budget we tabled today, but also the number of the initiatives we've been pushing forward. But Alice, I hear you, and we're working hard to make sure you can access the care you need. Thanks for reaching out tonight.
Thank you, Premier. We're going to stay on the healthcare topic. We have a question from Linda. She is a nurse. Linda, you can go ahead with your question.
Hi, Premier. My question is about what kind of structural changes you're going to make to the way that healthcare is delivered, because that's what I keep seeing being missed. For example, things like how GPs run their appointment systems. At the moment, at my husband's GP, they say they have 100 unfilled appointments a week where patients don't turn up. That equates to several GPs that could be serving others. And the other piece of that is the use of nurse practitioners. Yes, we want to train more doctors, but doctors are not the be-all and end-all of the system. There's a lot of slack that could be taken up by the role of nurse practitioners to make sure that physicians are doing physician-related things and not giving people flu shots.
Well, yeah, thank you, Linda, for sure. I totally agree with you, and thank you for your commitment to providing care to Nova Scotians. So you're absolutely right. I mean, a lot of the challenges we face today, we have in many ways a healthcare system that was designed generations ago. The world's changed a lot. We have a lot more chronic conditions. We have a lot more technology. The world's changed a lot, but the healthcare system really hasn't kept up. So you're right. We need to be innovative, and we need to look to how we deliver care in the future. So I think on nurse practitioners, absolutely. Physicians assistants, absolutely. Allied healthcare professionals. I put a little list together myself, and I had over 160 different allied healthcare professionals. We want them all to work to the full scope of practice. So we've tabled a piece of legislation this week that helps us work with the colleges more quickly, be more responsive to those allied healthcare professionals that come forward and say, hey, I can do a little more. I can take some pressure off. So expanding the scope of practice is part of it. But I think it's absolutely right. Optimizing the physicians that we have, optimizing the healthcare professionals that we have in the system. So, yeah, something like what you're talking about, unfilled appointments, that kind of drives me. Red tape, we're working hard on red tape. I heard from a lot of physicians and doctors in Nova Scotia talked about the hundreds of thousands of hours that physicians spend filling out forms, filling out other paperwork when they could be seeing patients. So we're very focused on that. There was a goal to reduce 10% of the red tape by the end of 2024. When I heard that, I said that's not acceptable, and we're gonna try to get rid of pretty much all of it by the end of 2024, and that'll come in tranches. And in fact, the departments across the government have been very responsive to that. The Community Services Department, in particular, I think identified 16 forms right away, and 4 or 5 of them they get rid of, and they said we just don't even need that form anymore. And these ones we can streamline. So yes to optimizing doctors. We have an optimization crew at Nova Scotia Health that will be happy to go and see any family doctor, work with them on their how they can optimize their scheduling, how they can optimize their time. We're happy to work with them. And also, I just want to send a message to those family docs or nurse practitioners or other allied healthcare professionals that are out there in the system. We want to work with you. We're here to support you. We're a growing province, but we're still 1 million people. We can be nimble. We can be responsive, and I will assure you that my government is committed. We're putting the financial commitment there. People see that in the budget. They see that in the spending. But from my personal commitment is there. The health minister's personal commitment is there. The health leadership team, they are very focused on solutions to these. So we're happy to work and listen. And I would just close with this. I don't know, Linda, if you had a chance, but the health minister and I did a Zoom call earlier in the week. I think it was Sunday night, and we had almost 1,000 nurses on there. We could hear directly from them. So we're going to open up some kind of hotlines as well, that if people have ideas of this is a way to make something more efficient, or this is a form that doesn't make sense anymore, where they can speak very directly to the government, and we will move very, very quickly. We have to optimize. Our time for our healthcare professionals is too valuable. We need to use it on patient-focused operations. So thank you, Linda, for raising that. The unfilled appointments is definitely something that gets my attention.
Thank you, Premier. We do have another nurse on the line. We've got Carol here. Carol, you can go ahead with your question next.
Good evening. My question is concerning the money that you're allotting, the $10,000 now and another $10,000 if you're committed to staying for another 2 years. What about the casual nurses, the nurses who have retired but returned and are working on a casual basis?
Yeah, thank you, Carol. This is an important question for sure, and I want to come back to Linda's comment for a sec on the unfilled appointments, because I'd be remiss if I didn't say to every Nova Scotian, this is a way you can help the system. Fill your appointment or cancel it early enough time. So I want to close the loop on that one. But listen, so this week we came out with almost $390 million compensation. Thank you for nurses and a number of allied healthcare professionals. It's a very, very significant financial putting our words, our money behind our words, I guess, to support them. So when you make a big initiative like that, that will impact roughly 55,000 Nova Scotians will receive that in some way, shape, or form. It's a big number. Some of these things, they're not perfect off the top. They're just not. So we try to get progress. We strive towards perfection, but they're not always perfect. So even since we made the announcement, it was flagged to us that what about those healthcare professionals that were on maternity leave? So that we clarified, yes, absolutely. There was another issue that was flagged around some people who had had a signing bonus of a certain amount and they just missed out on the other amount. Could we top them up? So yes, absolutely. We don't want to disenfranchise anyone. It's not our intent to slight anyone in any way, shape, or form. So as we realize there's a clarification that's necessary, we will make it. Our commitment is there to support the healthcare workers. On the specific question about the casuals, we're looking at that. We understand that the casuals have a little bit different working arrangement. They're absolutely necessary for our healthcare system. They fill in and they keep the system going. But on the other hand, some of the other full-time employees that they have a schedule and they have to be there. They're missing friends' weddings. They're missing other things because they can't get time off. So we want to make sure we support them. And those casuals, we want it where there's a full-time job available. That's what we want. We want them to try and encourage them to get into that system. So the casuals are extremely important. This has come up a couple times. We're looking to see if there's something we can do on that. But I just want to be clear that the intent of the bonus and the retention and the thank you is for those who have been there and they didn't have a choice to not take a shift. They couldn't get their vacation, all those types of things, and they really kept the system going at some of their own personal peril. But I appreciate you raising the question on casuals. We'll continue to look at that, Carol.
We're going to move to New Glasgow next for our next question. Deborah from New Glasgow wants to talk about support for seniors. Deborah, can you go ahead with your question?
Yes, thank you very much. I just have a question about hearing aids for senior citizens, particularly low income. This seems to be something that's missing because I think hearing aids now are around $4,000 or $5,000 for seniors. And it's really, really hard for them to come by. And it's a health issue because if you have good hearing, it helps prevent dementia and other things like that. So I was just wondering if they were going to be doing anything on that.
Well, hi, Deborah. Thanks for joining us. Say hi to the folks back in Pictou County for me, for sure. But this is a really important question, and it's one that we hear. But we have to be there to support our seniors for sure. We've tried to do that as a government in a number of ways. The Seniors Care Grant, which we brought forward, was $1,000 last year. It's in the budget this year. It was a new initiative that we will continue. I think we'll continue it this year going forward in range of $500. But the Seniors Care Grant is there to support seniors. The Seniors Pharmacare program, no increase in premiums on the Senior Pharmacare program. We want to make sure that that's accessible for seniors. I do hear from some that it's a little tough. The premiums are a little tough, but I think over half of the seniors, it's income tested, and over half of the seniors in the province pay a reduced premium. So these are a couple of initiatives. We're always looking for other ways. The hearing aid question is one. I take that one to heart. That's a good question. We should be making sure that the hearing aids are accessible, because you're right, they're critical to a person's overall health and well-being. So I don't think it's in the budget at this point in time, Deborah, but certainly I appreciate you flagging that for me, and I'll take that one away.
Thanks, Premier. Just a reminder, if you're participating by phone, you can hit *3 to be added to the queue for your question. If you are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, you can email your questions into nstownhall@novascotia.ca. Now, I've just been handed a question that has come in through email. We're going to take a question now from Walter. Walter says, "Thank you for taking time to answer my question. Please advise our growing senior population of what they can expect when their time comes to move to senior care homes. Thank you for your continued effort in our healthcare." Walter.
Walter, thank you for this question. I know this is on the minds of many Nova Scotians with the waiting list to get into a long-term care home. For sure, it's been a long-standing issue. We're committed to building more spaces in long-term care homes. We've committed to building 3,500 more beds. So that's over the next. I think that goes out over the next 3-4 years. But certainly that commitment is there. We know we need to renovate. We know we need more single rooms. We know we need more rooms. So our focus is there. Our commitment is there. That is in the budget. And we also know that we have to support those that are in those homes, or actually still in their own home but needing a little bit of help. So we've invested heavily in CCAs and other home care workers. CCAs in particular. Some people may remember that the wages for our CCAs they just weren't right. So last year we brought those up. We've also made a significant investment and that's been helpful in attracting people to a career as a CCA. So that's a good thing. And at the same time, we've invested in the tuition for those studying to be a CCA. So look, more beds, more people there to support those living in our long-term cares. That's kind of where our focus was. And when I guess the final thing that I would say is we are making progress on this file. We really are. At one point in time when we first came in, I think maybe shortly after, there was about 500 beds in the province that existed in the province that were closed because there wasn't enough people to staff them. They're now open. So we have the beds that we have. We're properly utilizing them. We'll build more, and we'll focus on making sure we train people to be there to support those in them. So thank you very much for that. That's a really important question, Walter.
Okay, we're going to go back to the phone lines now. We've got Bernard from Dartmouth who has a question about taxes. Bernard, you can go ahead with your question now.
Hello, Mr. Premier. Thank you for taking my call. My question is around municipal taxes. Would the government consider returning some or all of the 25% municipal taxes to the municipalities to support their budget decisions to control tax increases to the citizens of that municipality?
Thank you, Bernard. So listen, I think municipalities do their own budget. There's a memorandum of understanding between the province and the municipalities, where some money flows from the province to the municipalities, and some money flows from the municipalities back to the province. Some of the money that flows back to the province from the municipalities around the justice system stuff, education stuff. So I think that might be what you're referring to, and when you ask would we return some of that. But what I would say is that agreement, the toing and the froing between the province and the municipalities it's been in place for I think 20 years. It's old. It needs to be updated. So we've committed to renegotiating that agreement with the municipalities. That was a campaign promise we made. It was actually a campaign promise back as far as my leadership. So what we said is we'll renegotiate that. We'll look at the money flow and look for a common sense arrangement between the two of them. So as a show of good faith from the province to the municipalities to say, hey, we are serious about renegotiating this. It's not just something government is saying. We're serious. Last year, we sent an additional, I think, $32 million to municipalities through the grant system. So this year, we're the minister's talking to the municipalities this year about something similar, or something. We want to make sure that money that goes to the municipalities, as you said, is used for good purposes that support the citizens. So we're working with the municipalities. We know that there's opportunities there. We know that the municipalities are under pressure, that the province is under pressure, the federal government's under pressure, and individuals are under pressure. So the good thing about government, the benefit that government has that individuals don't have, is government can run deficits. Can obviously take on more debt sometimes that citizens just can't and municipalities can't. So it's an important question because if there's only one taxpayer, and the property tax money comes out of the same pocket as the income tax money and comes out of the other tax money as well. So we're working with the municipalities. We'll try to modernize the MOU between the province and the municipalities. We'll try to get there as quick as we can.
Thank you, Premier. I'm pleased to say there's people here from right across the province. So we're going to head over to Cape Breton next. We've got a question from Kathleen, and she wants to talk about access to health care for rural communities. Kathleen, go ahead with your question.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me, Mr. Premier. And my question is, where I'm in a real rural area in Cape Breton, and we have just a little care facility in Niels Harbor, Buchanan's Memorial. And when anyone needs any services, if they need to have surgery done, if they need to have any tests done, any scans done, anything, we have to travel at least anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours to get any of those procedures done. And I'm wondering, for especially the elderly or low-income families, what is the government doing to support and help people to adjust them? And like I said, it takes so long, just even from an appointment, to set up an appointment to see a specialist, and when whatever they predict, and then if you needed surgery, then you have to go again. So it's very costly because of where we are, and I just wonder what the government has any plans to help people in real rural areas.
Yeah, thank you, Kathleen from beautiful Niels Harbor. Thank you for joining us tonight. And this is obviously a real issue for Nova Scotia, a very rural province in many respects. So it's a real issue, and that's why our focus on access to care. We say our focus on access to care when people need it, where they need it, so closer to their community when that's possible. So, for the rural parts of the province, we really think that this mobile clinic that we've been piloting, that we're expanding now It's taking care to people, and we're getting good feedback on that. Also, the pharmacy-led clinics, should bring care closer to people as well for certain things, and we'll continue to look for those types of innovative ways to bring care closer to people. But again, it's ultimately we need to recruit more healthcare professionals, nurse practitioners, allied healthcare professionals, family doctors for sure. And we try to work with the communities for localized recruitment, because we know that if we have somebody from Neils Harbor or surrounding area who's gone to medical school, who's practicing medicine somewhere, if we can get them back close to home, close to Neil Harbor, they're going to stay, because that's where they want to be. So local recruitment is critical. Opening up more access points close to home is critical. And then, of course, the medical school at CBU, I think, where we're focusing on rural students, Nova Scotia students, rural students, we have a chance in the medium to longer term to actually train some family docs, maybe from Neils Harbor, maybe from surrounding area. Give them an opportunity to get into medical school. Give them an opportunity to practice medicine in their community. So this is the focus. This is why we're really excited about the medical school at Cape Breton. And I have to tell you, when we were down there announcing it, there was two young ladies that were in the room just off to the side, chatting with people afterwards. I was chatting with them, and one of them said, "This is my sister. She's a healthcare professional. She wants to go to med school at CBU." And I said, isn't that wonderful? I said, was it always your dream to go to medical school? And she said, not really. But knowing what I know now, working in healthcare, and knowing that I'd have a chance to go to medical school right here in Cape Breton at CBU, I want to do it. So that's the type of transformational, long-term improvements we can make to healthcare. But I know that the access to care close to home is on the minds of Nova Scotians, and I want you to know it's certainly on my mind as well.
Thanks, Premier. Just a reminder to anyone on the phone, if you're looking to ask your question, you can hit *3 to be added to the queue. And if you're watching us on Facebook tonight or on YouTube, you can email your question to nstownhall@novascotia.ca. Next, we're going to go to Beverly. She has a different topic for us. Housing is what we're going to chat about next. Beverly, go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much. Good evening. You mentioned, Mr. Premier, that $6.5 billion is allocated to health care spending, and that's wonderful. My question is, how much has been budgeted to address the housing crisis that we're facing here in our province? First, I think about the fact that people are sleeping in tents. To me, it is shameful that in this day and age we have people that are being offered tents and are sleeping in tents. Tonight it is snowing here. And I think about those that are out in the cold. And I also wonder about what you plan to do or put in place to halt the rise in rentals. The cost to rent an apartment has gone beyond the reach of many people, as has the rental rates for other types of accommodation. People are being put out of the current apartments so that landlords can get more money for the units. It's wrong. What can we do as a province to make this better?
Yeah, thank you, Beverly. And we do have a housing crisis in this province for sure, and it shows up in a lot of different ways, many of which you've mentioned for sure. So we know that there are some things government can do. And we're doing those. We'll come up with we'll release a full housing strategy this spring that is coming. But in the meantime, there's a number of initiatives we've been taking. This budget right here increases the rental supplements that are available to support Nova Scotians. There'll be 1,000 more rental supplements available. That will bring the number to 8,000 rental supplements that are available. When we came into office, that was 5,000. So we're investing in rental supplements to help people pay their rent. We also announced through the budget process 236 more affordable rental units. I think came out when the minister announced that just last week. So we're investing in more affordable units. We're investing in the housing stock that the province already holds. In many ways, it it was kind of needing a lot of work. So there'll be a lot of renovations going. I think that number is almost $14 million of renovations on existing housing stock. So things are happening to support Nova Scotians, but we need more housing stock. There's no question about that. That's why we put a housing task force together to work with municipalities, to work with HRM, to really say what are the barriers to getting permits approved so that things can go forward, construction can go forward. There's some really lengthy delays, and just saying if a project should go forward, how can we get it moving? How can we get rid of the unnecessary delays so we can get the shovels in the ground and get the housing stock being built? That's working. There's more work to be done on that, but we'll continue to do that. So we'll look for ways to work with those who want to build housing stock, who want to create developments to house Nova Scotians. We're there to support them in making sure that the process makes sense and that those developments that should go forward, that they actually go forward. So we'll do that. And then on the final point on the cost of living, I guess what I would say, and the monthly rent people are paying. When we came into office, there was a rental cap in place, 2% rental cap in place. That we continued that. We extended that because we know we need to support those tenants for sure and protect them as much as we can through times, to be there to support them. So that was meant to expire at the end of the year. We announced just yesterday that the rental cap system will extend for 2 more years. The cap will go from 2% to 5%. It'll be 5%, and it'll be 5%. So really, what we're trying to do is, as a government, by the time that after that 2 years, it will have been 5 years that the government, really had the rental cap system in place to offer some support to tenants. We have to make sure that there are no unintended consequences. We have to make sure that the rental cap system doesn't discourage people from building new units. We have to find that balance, and we think we found it with extending the rental cap for 2 more years at 5% and at 5%. And I think this might be one of those things where nobody's really happy. Some tenants aren't happy, some landlords aren't happy, and maybe that's an indication that we might have found the right balance. But we'll do what we can. We understand the housing crisis is real, and I worry deeply about those people that are living rough as well.
Okay, we're going to pivot to a new topic now. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health. Gina's on the line. She has a question about mental health. Go ahead, Gina.
Yes, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. I am a licensed clinical counseling therapist, that's the title, and in Nova Scotia, and I've been practicing for decades. And what I notice is that there are many people who have human issues like too much anger, depression, anxiety, trauma, and I don't mean necessarily trauma of acute trauma, which would be something like an accident. I mean what we call developmental trauma, people that are having a really difficult time in their life because their past issues from childhood surface. So, and communication, of course, especially families, couples, super important. So I'm wondering, is there any extra money that can be given to people like myself who want to help out more? I have some other things to say about it, but I want to hear, is there anything going on in that direction? I have some very creative ideas, like community types of functions, like a group, empathy group. I know these words aren't common to people in the political field, but very much I can assure you that humans need this kind of thing, and if we don't have it, it's been exaggerated more because of COVID and people not being able to talk to each other, but absolutely necessary that people have a place to communicate with each other and with somebody that can help them with these strong feelings.
Well, thank you, Gina, and thank you for being there to support people when they need it. It's incredibly important, and I can feel the emotion in your voice. I know you're helping a lot of people, so thank you for that. So, we have in this province a minister of addictions and mental health. That's Minister Brian Comer. He's a very compassionate person. He's a registered nurse with a background in mental health. He's wonderful. He will want to hear from you, Gina, with your ideas. So we'll make sure we make that connection for sure. We want to hear from you, and we'll move on that too. So that position, Minister of Addictions and Mental Health, it's the first one in the province. It's a new portfolio that we wanted to create, to have somebody at the highest level of government, at the cabinet table, who's solely focused on addictions and mental health. This used to be under the purview of the health minister, but now we've realized health is a big file, and if you don't have somebody focused on addictions and mental health, it might kind of fall to the side. And we don't want that in this province. We want to be there to support Nova Scotians. So Minister Comer's focused on that. We're supporting Minister Comer. We've expanded just over the last couple of weeks, virtual mental health to make appointments available to those people who need them. It's a $2 million investment. It's a start. It's progress. We're moving in that direction. Of course, we have a campaign commitment for universal mental health care, where we really want to mobilize the resources of the province for the benefit of Nova Scotians across healthcare, but certainly for addictions and mental health. And that's we're still working through the details. But under that program, the universal mental health, Gina, when you're ready, willing, and able to support Nova Scotians, we would do that, and you'd be paid by the publicly funded system. So that would help you help more people. So that universal mental health is something Minister Comer is working through. And as we work through that, I mean, investments are being made in recovery support centers around the province. So this is you're right. It's been tough. The pandemic's been tough. The economy, affordability issues have been tough on people. And look, it's okay to need some help. And as a province, we want to be there to support people when they need that help. So thank you, Gina, for what you're doing. And certainly, maybe if we get you connected to Minister Comer, maybe even through my office, if you email premier@novascotia.ca, we're happy to make that connection.
Thank you, Premier. We have just under 20 minutes left to go of our town hall this evening, but there's still time for questions. So if you're participating by phone, just a reminder, you can hit *3 and you'll be added to the queue to ask your question. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, you can email your questions to nstownhall@novascotia.ca. We're now going to talk about paramedics a little bit. We've got Linda on the line. She's from Halifax, and she has a question about paramedics. Go ahead with your question, Linda.
Hi, Tim. I was just wondering why the paramedics weren't included in the bonuses and the perks being given out. Now, granted, I know our nurses definitely need support and recognition and appreciation, but so do our paramedics.
Yep. Thank you for that, Linda, for sure. And we love our paramedics. We need our paramedics. They're there. They're there when we reach out. They're there for us. And as one healthcare professional said to me, I think it was the minister, said that paramedics oftentimes see what the rest of the system doesn't see, because they're roadside on an accident, and people only see what comes in. So I have great respect for our paramedics, for sure. That's 100%. They're critical to keeping us all healthy and safety. So thank you to them. So the retention bonuses announced this week. There's different structures. Of course, I mentioned off the top that the nurses up to $10,000 right away. Paramedics are included in this bonus system, $5,000 right away as a no strings attached as a thank you. So look, I've heard the voices raised that say, well, it should be 10 as well, and I certainly never dispute the worth of a paramedic, for sure. But we tried to do what we could with what we had available. We value our paramedics, so in supporting our paramedics in the day-to-day, operation of their job and the stresses that they're feeling. We know that we're investing in new ambulance fleet. We've looked at the offload procedures I mentioned off the top so that they can be doing what they want to do, which is be out supporting Nova Scotians and not waiting around at an emergency department to get offloaded. Be there for them for that. We know we need to recruit and support them. So we've invested in tuition rebates so we can get more paramedics trained to enter the workforce, and other things that hopefully make the job of a paramedic just a little bit easier in the high stress environment they are. Something like a power loader to help them with the lifting of patients and moving of things. So we're there for the paramedics. We want to be there to support them. They're critical to how Nova Scotia moves forward in the healthcare file for sure. And they're pillars of our community. They're volunteer firefighters. They're just making things happen in our community. So there are union negotiations as well. Don't forget on the compensation package is really negotiated at the table. So we hope that the paramedics union will get back to the table. We want to get to the table and have these discussions with them. We're here. I believe in fair and open, honest contract negotiations. We believe in the collective bargaining process, and so we will certainly negotiate fairly. I know that's been something that it's time in this province for fair and honest negotiations and having these frank discussions about how we get to where we need to get to. We do that at the negotiating table, and we will look forward to having those negotiations with paramedics. But for this week, with the retention bonus, $5,000, and I have heard from a lot that are very thankful for that. That wasn't something they woke up on Monday morning and knew was going to happen this week. So it's our way of saying thank you. But the compensation package is at the table, and we'll do what we can to invest in helping support them, help us, and keep us all healthy. But so thank you, Linda, for that important question.
Thank you, Premier. Let's try a different topic. We're going to talk now about energy projects. So Michelle from Littlebrook has a question. Go ahead with your question, Michelle.
Good evening, Premier Houston. Thank you for doing another town hall and for taking my call. There is a tidal project coming to an end in southwest Nova Scotia. Regardless of its ability to generate power, they were unable to come to terms with the DFO. I was wondering if the province is exerting any pressure on the federal department to streamline the process and paperwork to enable additional green energy initiatives in tidal power generation.
Thank you, Michelle, and hello to the good folks in Littlebrook for sure. Look, I'm going to try to use the word I can use in this format, but I'm definitely very annoyed about what's happening with that project. We have so much opportunity in this province, in the energy file, in green hydrogen. We have so much potential to really change the direction, the future of our economy in Nova Scotia can rest on how successful we are on the energy potential that we have. Certainly the Bay of Fundy. It's incredible what we have in the Bay of Fundy, and it's here. And other jurisdictions would dream about having a Bay of Fundy. If you took the strength of every single river in the world and added it together, you may come close to the Bay of Fundy. And it's tidal, it's going back and forth day after day like clockwork. We should be finding ways to tap that. That requires innovation, it requires moving forward. So we had a project here at Sustainable Marine project here, investing in trying to understand how to unleash the potential of those projects here, and to have DFO not understand the urgency, not get it. To be honest, I just don't think they got it. So I'm pretty upset about DFO's handling of this file. I'm really concerned about the future of that particular project, but others as well. I've written to the DFO. We'll reach out to the DFO. We'll do whatever we can to try to get their attention on this. But this is a huge miss by DFO. We can't have DFO holding back our province in this way. The opportunity is too great. The world is just screaming for renewable energy. And we can be providing it here in Nova Scotia over the next 5, 8, 10 years. As I say, we can change the economic future of this province in a very, very meaningful way. And shame on the DFO for what they've done in this situation. Thank you for raising that.
Thank you, Premier. We're going to talk about our population growth next. So Keith from Glenhaven has a question about our population growth. Keith, go ahead with your question.
Yes, good evening, Premier Houston. I'd like to ask about the plan to double our population. How can we do this with the infrastructure that we have? We're stressed to the limits, beyond the limits, with our education, health, transportation, housing. How can we do this without putting more stress on our systems as it is now?
Thank you, Keith. What a great question. I mean, people drive economies. Population growth is a good thing, and the growth we're experiencing here in this province is pretty remarkable. We tipped over the million Nova Scotia mark. That was a significant milestone, a hurdle in many ways for so long, but we tipped over that, and now we've just kind of raced past it. Now, I think in a normal year pre-COVID, the population of Nova Scotia would grow by somewhere in the range of 5,000 people, 6,000 people. Somewhere in the range of 20,000 people would move to Nova Scotia. 15 would move away. A lot of those would have been students that come here to study, and some would be just people that just moved away for a variety of reasons. But the net growth kind of year over year was somewhere in the range of 5,000 or 6,000 people, just order of magnitude. In the year that just recently ended, we grew by 37,000 people. It is remarkable growth. It's driving our economy in many ways. The budget we tabled today, $14 billion in spending. The revenues are up significantly. And that revenue growth is being driven by population growth. So population growth, a good thing. Diversity is a good thing. Right-sizing our demographics is a good thing. We need to get younger. We just got younger this year for the first time in I think 20 years. Our population just went a little smidgen younger. So population growth is good. Planned population growth is what we really need, and I think that's what you're speaking to. So we need to make sure that we're looking ahead to what infrastructure will be required as we continue to grow. So the $1.6 billion capital investment plan that we tabled, the $1.6 billion capital budget, that's separate than the $14 billion operating budget. Huge investments in infrastructure. Of course, people around HRM and really around the province will be familiar with the hospital rebuilds. The investments in healthcare infrastructure, the housing we've talked about a couple times. And this is why we really need to make sure that the process for approvals for those who want to build housing, who want to create housing developments, we need to make sure that the process for approvals has common sense, that they're not discouraged, because we're going to need that housing for these people that come. So listen, the province is growing. It's a good thing. There's an energy around this province. We live in an incredible province. We really do. I mean, I'm in downtown Halifax right now. I could in a short drive, I could be in the valley to our own Napa of the East. What's happening with wines and agriculture in the valley, and just the energy in the valley is incredible. I could go another way and another direction and be on literally some of the best golf courses in the world, worldwide ranked golf courses. And all of this in a scenic province surrounded by 13,000 kilometers of coastline, beaches, hiking, we have a lot to offer, and that's why people are moving here. Government's responsibility is to plan for that growth and be ready for that growth. So investments in the capital budget, you see that through that, Keith, and you see that in us understanding the need for more housing. But it's an exciting time for this province. It really is. Good things are happening in this province. We have our challenges. Those are the challenges of growth. We accept the challenges of growth. I prefer the challenges of growth any single day because across this province we've seen the challenges on the other side, with schools closing and businesses closing. So we accept the challenges of growth. That's my job as Premier, to prepare for those, and we're doing that through capital budgeting process and through just looking forward at the infrastructure we need going forward. But what a great question. As you can tell, I'm passionate about population growth. Thank you for bringing that topic up.
Thank you, Premier. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for questions this evening, but it doesn't have to be the end of the conversation. You can write to us at nstownhall@novascotia.ca. I see there are many questions we didn't get to, and I am sorry for that, but please reach out to us, nstownhall@novascotia.ca. Premier, do you want to close this out?
Yeah, thank you, Marla. Thanks for everyone tuning in tonight. Thanks for the great questions. I really appreciate it. This is this is the best part of it's what a privilege to be Premier of this province. And the best part of it all is interacting directly with Nova Scotians. So this has been great. Thank you for your thoughtful questions. You always give me something to think about, and you've definitely done that tonight as well. So I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to keep doing these town halls on a fairly regular basis, so that we understand that it's not always easy to get out to a physical town hall and to get around to the province somewhere. So hopefully you've found this useful and a good use of your time. I've definitely found it a good use of my time. It's incredibly important that I hear directly from you. I want and need to know what's on your minds, and I need to know where you think we can improve. We want to listen to you, and we got some of that tonight as well. And Gina, I hope you reach out with your thoughts on addictions and mental health as well. And I would just close with this. My commitment to you is that I'm going to give this everything I have. I'll give you my best every single time. I want what's best for this province. You should expect nothing less. I will give you everything I have to improve this province. This is, for me, it's a period in time when I have the privilege to be Premier, and I don't want to. After that time is over, I don't want to look back and spend the rest of my life and think you were right there. You could have fixed that. So that's why I push this sense of urgency through our team. There's a lot of people working for the province of Nova Scotia. They feel the urgency to do better for you as well. So let's not miss any opportunities. Let's work together to really optimize what's possible for this province, because there is a lot possible for this province, and me and my team, we will give it everything we have. But thanks for your time tonight. If your question wasn't answered, as Marla mentioned, reach out, or send directly to me too at email premier at novascotia.ca. We want to hear from you. We need to hear from you. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you soon. Take care.